Hello dear students of the Genius School. We are knowing that the exams are approaching very much nearer, especially for the economics. So macro, maybe we are continuously or repeatedly studying, but we have many doubts because of ID, because completely ID is a theoretical thing. So here I am presenting certain things in front of you from the first chapter, which we can remember how we can score the good marks into it. So let's go for the first chapter. Dear all, we know that first chapter is all about the eve of independence. So when we are studying about the eve of independence, we have to remember especially two things. The first one is that what was the India situation before the prior to Britishers and what was the situation of India during the Britishers. So these two things we must have to know when we are studying the chapter at the eve of independence. So if I talk about this prior to India, just remember two or three things for this. That prior to India, India's agriculture sector was very much prosperous. India was well known for its spices. Okay, India was exporting tea, etc. product. Just remember few names. Don't go into the more names. Okay, so India was very much famous for the agriculture sector. With that, India was also known for the industry, especially for the textile industries of India was very much famous before the Britishers came in India. Okay, and India was having many service providers, India was having many artisans, India was having a good business of handicrafted item. It was reputed business, handicrafted items. So prior to Britishers, overall if we see that India's agriculture, India's industrial sector, India's service sector, artisans, handicraft, this all were in the good position, and that's why India was known as a golden world. But if we talk about when the Britishers came and when we became slaves of them, after that what was the condition? So again you have to repeat this three. They have dominated the agriculture completely. Agriculture sector during the British period was destroyed completely. That we will study how it was destroyed. But just for the reading, just for the thinking that what was the situation during the British rule. So during the British rule, Indian agriculture sector was completely destroyed. Indian textile industries was also completely destroyed. India's handicrafted industries, which was dominated sector for us before the Britishers, it was also destroyed by Britishers, okay, by their ideology. But how, that we will study. But this is the main thing that we have to remember, that during the Britishers we were very much good in this, and before the Britishers we were very much good in this all things, and when Britishers have started ruling on us, okay, we have started suffering a lot, especially into this segments. So in this chapter there is one question which can be asked, which can be considered as the IMP one, that explain the features of Indian economy during the British rule. We know that CBSE does not ask this type of the direct questions, but at least for the feature, if we have been asked something in the question, then we must remember the features of the Indian economy during the British rule. So if we are remembering the features thoroughly, then we can answer also if any kind of direct or indirect questions they are asking. So when we have been asked for the feature, we can remember the feature in this manner. Listen this. Dosiba, black hair leaf. How to remember? Dosiba, black hair leaf. Do means what? A dominance of agriculture. Say, semi-feudal economy. Ba, backward economy. Bleak industrialization. Hay, heavy imports, and limited urbanization. So this were the basic features of Indian economy during the British rules. Our agriculture sector was completely dominated, and before that also we were the agrarian nation only, and during the Britishers also India was an agrarian nation. India was doing more agricultural activity. If we go percentage wise, then we can say that about 72% of the population in India was doing the agricultural activity. So India was completely dominated by the agriculture sector. But yes, we can also admit that India was having the semi-feudal economy. When the Britishers have started ruling on us, at that time we were having two features together. Somewhere, some part of India was very much developed, okay, and somewhere, some of the part of India was underdeveloping. Means somewhere we were following the mixed economy, somewhere we were following the controlled economy. So Indian economy was not a completely one type of economy during the British rule. It was having two characteristics together. That's why it can be considered as a semi-feudal economy. Yes, backward economy. We must have to admit this also, that during the British period, India was also known, means India's condition was a backward economic condition, because India was very much backward in education, in health sector, and in many other areas, poverty, unemployment. There were many such issues was also there, and Indian economy was completely grown up and completely developed or developing on the basis of agriculture. It was not industrialist. That's why Indian economy can be also considered as a backward economy. And India's industrialization was a bleak industrialization. We have tried a lot to become an industrialist nation before the Britishers and during the British period. But our industrialization was also not that much good. We were good in some of the industries like textile, handicraft and all that we have already studied. But those other industries which were there in other countries was not established in India during the British period. So our industrial sector was also somehow good and somehow not good. Yes, we were also dependent on imports. Many major imports we were importing from the other countries. For the necessary goods, we were also dependent on the imports like wheat, rice, this kind of agricultural items or agricultural things we were having, but other things like machineries, spare parts, okay, chemicals, medicines, this all are the things on which we were completely dependent on the imports. So India was heavily dependent on the imports and limited urbanization. When the Britishers were ruling on us, at that time more villages were there. It was said in one book that more than 2 lakh villages was there at that time. So India was completely relying on the on the villages, means on the rural areas. Urban areas were developed. I am not saying, or the textbook is not saying that urban areas was not existing. Urban areas was existed, but the urban areas was very much rare. So if urban areas were very much rare, then industrialization would be very much rare, because urbanization is the sign of the industrialization. So if urbanization would be less, then the industrialization would be also less. So this Dosima Black-Heady, you can understand and you can write about this in your own words. If again we go for the next most IMP thing, then from the textbook we have to prepare this. What was the characteristics of agriculture's backwardness? Means Indian agriculture was backward. How can you say that during the British period Indian agriculture sector was completely backward? How can you say that? So here is the example. We have to remember this example in a mathematical way. L square S square. L square means L will be 2 times 1 and 2, and S square means S will be 2 times. So L means low production and productivity. When the Britishers were ruling on us, okay, because of some essential things like fertilizers, pesticides, irrigation facilities, water facilities, this was not completely available. So India's production was there, but production was not at that extent that we can fulfill our own needs and we can export that also. I am not saying prior to Britishers, I am saying it during the Britishers. So during the Britishers, because of the exploitation in the agricultural sector, our production becomes very much less. If Before that, production was good, but Britishers have started taking the more revenues. Britishers have started not giving any facilities, financial instruments was completely abandoned for the agriculture sector, and because of these all restrictions, our agriculture sector was suffering a lot, and it has resulted that our agricultural production becomes very much less. And productivity, why the productivity goes very much lower? Because Indian farmers were having one mentality. What is the productivity? Productivity means the capacity of producing the items or cultivation. In agriculture, if our capacity of production is increasing, means our productivity is increasing. But during the Britishers, our productivity was also less because our people's mindset, our people's thinking was that, thought process was that we will be doing the agricultural activity just for our livelihood, just to live a life. We are not doing agricultural activity to earn the money. So they were not making that much efforts into the agriculture sector. That is also a reason. Second reason, because of the heavy pressure of the landlords and the zamindars and all. Okay, our farmers, all the capacity of production has been declined completely. That is also a reason. Okay, and other financial facilities, irrigation, pesticides, this was not completely provided to us. That was also a reason. So because of this whole reason, our productivity has also become very much less. Next is lack of investment in agriculture. At that time, our Indian people was not understanding, or we were not understanding, that agriculture is also a kind of activity of earning, and we were not investing any good amount of money into it. So if we don't invest the good amount of money into it, then we will not generate the good returns. And it is not the only reason that we were not investing a good amount of money, but the second thing is that we were not having that much capacity. If we see it on a monetary basis, like our farmers were generally belongs to the villages, there were, means many of them were belonging from the normal background or from the poor background, so they don't have that much money to invest. Okay, so the investment ratio was very much less, and other side, the Britishers was only interested in taking the revenues, not at all interested or for giving any financial facilities. That's why investment was very much less, and lands were divided into the small pieces, fragmented and small holdings. We know that our lands was taken by the zamindars, it was taken by the Britishers. So big land areas have been divided, have started being divided into the small pieces. So we can simply understand that when a big area of land is cultivating a cotton, and when I am dividing this land into the small pieces between various zamindars or between the ownership of the Britishers, then it will not give that much result which one whole land can give. So that is also a reason, and our farmers were having the subsistence outlook. Our ideology was not that much commercialized. We were not an agricultural trader. Okay, our mindset was not that. We have not been treated like that. We have not seen that. We have not seen this agriculture as a business, and because of this reason, our farmers' ideology of doing the farming activity was just to completely handling the daily needs or the daily consumptions only, in short, in a simple language. That's why, because of subsistence outlook, because of the simple thought process or the thinking or ideological process, we were having the less production into the agricultural sector. So these are the L square, S square. Now if we have been asked the demographic profile, this is also IMP, that what is demographic profile? So it is related completely with the population, the words or the things or the items which is related completely with the part of population, that can be considered as a demographic profile. So here in demographic profile, we just have to remember birth rate and death rate. Birth rate is for the infant, always infants are only getting birth, and death rate. If we have been asked for the death rate, that death involves any such age. But if we have been asked infant mortality rate, then we just have to include the child of 0 to 1 year. Okay, and life expectancy. So birth rate, total number of birth at 1000 population. Okay, total number of death of one in a year out of 1000 population. Out of 1000 population means a live birth, total number of death of a children means a child especially, that is infant mortality rate, and life expectancy, average lifespan of the people. So we have to remember this statistical data also. Birth rate was 48, death rate was 40, infant mortality was 33, life expectancy was 32. And if you see this 48 birth rate, this 40 death rate, this 33 infant mortality rate, and this 32 life expectancy, this all the numbers are very much high. It is not at all good sign. It is completely showing that in your country, if this number of deaths at per 1000, this number of deaths at per 1000, because at 1000 live birth 33 are getting died, then at 2000 children 66 will die. Okay, it is a simple calculation and the numbers will increase slowly. So if its number is high, it is completely showing a poor health situation, poor food facility, poor medical facilities. Okay, means overall if we see our infrastructural facility was completely poor, it indicates this. Okay, that we have to remember. It is related with the infrastructural facilities. Now move to the next. This is the most IMP question. India was having the insignificant transition from agriculture to industries. How and why? What question is saying? Question is saying that India has tried to convert itself from an agrarian nation to industrialist nation. But this try, somehow it was not completed. It was insignificant. Means it was successful but not at that extent. What was the reason? So we have to divide this question into two parts. One is Madras Presidency and second is other. If we see during the British period, many of us and many regions of India have tried to become an industrialist nation, okay, rather than becoming an agrarian nation. So Madras Dynasty, Madras Presidency was completely successful into that. So during the British rule, Madras Presidency was involving this much areas, this much locations into it. If we have to remember those locations, then you will remember these locations in this way: ABBKK, ABBK, A Andhra Pradesh, B Bengal, B Bombay, K Karnataka, and K Kerala. So this were the special regions in India where the India have converted the agriculture successfully into industries. These particular areas have successfully started some of the textile industries, some of the machineries industries, some of the chemical industries, and they have converted their areas from agriculture to industrial locations or industrial sites. So they were successful, but if you see the other sectors or the other places of India, then rock was completely unsuccessful into it of converting agriculture to industries. Instead of converting it agriculture to industries, they became successful in agriculture, like R, Rajasthan, O, Odisha, P, Punjab. These three regions were completely based and they have developed the complete agriculture sector at the same time. So you can see that at one time there are few places who are developing the industries at the next level, and there are few locations, there are few places where they are not developing industries but they are getting success into the agricultural sector. So we can say that India is not completely a successful one for transform itself from agriculture to industry. So it is a successful but not that much. Okay, understood. And the next one is positive impact of the Britishers. If Britishers were ruling on us, okay, they have done so many things with us. We know that Britishers, we are considering them one of the cruel race that they have came in India, they have started ruling on us. Okay, they have implemented several rules. They have started controlling us. They have destroyed our agriculture. They have completely destroyed our industrial sector. They have controlled our raw materials. This all are true, but because of Britishers, there are certain things which has been happening in India was also good. So what was there? So positive impact of the Britishers. Because of the Britishers, which positive things we have faced. So we have to remember this question or this term in this way: new efficient COCOMO. New efficient COCOMO. New efficient COCOMO means what? New means new employment opportunities Britishers have generated. Britishers have recruited our Indian people into army. You have seen the Mangal Pandey. Britishers have also recruited us into their administration departments. Okay, so Britishers have gave us the employment opportunities into the various sectors. So because of them, employment opportunities have started increasing. Because of them, efficient administration. If you see any movie which is showing the Britishers into it, okay, you can see that their administration level, their management level is completely attractive. They are completely well dressed up. Okay, whenever they are doing any such legal thing, okay, they have the proper documentation, they have the proper signature, okay, stamping, they are folding it, they are giving it into the covers. Means they have the complete administration system of managing the things surrounding to them. So we have also learned from them the discipline, the dressing, the administration, the management. These things we have learned from them. Okay, so this is a gift from them to us. And they have controlled the famine. I think famine cannot be controlled because it is a natural thing, but how they have controlled the famines? Because of the Britishers, our transportation sector has invented. Okay, and they have also come up with the railways in 1853. So when railway has started going from one to another place in India, we were able to control the famine because we are now able to send the good or to take the good and give it to the places who are affected with the famine. So if any such areas are affected with the famine, then we can easily transport the necessary grains, food, etc. items easily towards to those areas. And those areas, if they are getting food, then they can live for the long. So we have controlled the famine in that manner. Next is commercial outlook. We have seen in the beginning that our farmers were not at all a trader of the agriculture, but they have taught us how to convert the agricultural activity into the trading activity by cultivating the cotton, by cultivating the jute, by cultivating the indigo. No doubt, this commercialization was forced commercialization. Our farmers was not happy to do this. They were not happy that they become a commercial farmer, but somehow it helped our farmer to change their mentality that agriculture can also be an opportunity of earning. It can be also a part of earning a good GDP for the country. That they have taught us, and they have started forcing us to cultivate the cotton. Okay, they were taking the cotton, they were giving the money. They have forced us to cultivate the indigo and to give to them, and they were giving the money in return. Means they have set up our ideology as a commercial farmers. And the last one, because of them, paper notes and coins have started circulating at the large extent into our economy. I am not saying, or the textbook is not saying that Britishers are only the reason for that. Before the Britishers, there were few kingdoms who were already using the metal coins. But when the Britishers have started ruling on us, they came in India, the use of currency notes and the coins was acceptable at the highest extent, at the large level. Okay, that's why we can say that because of them, our monetary exchanges have also been started, and what problems we were facing in barter system, from that we come out. So this was the basic hints about the chapter at the eve of the independence. If you are doing some other things, if you are doing some other work, if you are walking, During that time also you can listen this and you can prepare for the IIT portion. We will be meeting for the next chapter's video with the next content. Thank you.